This is the JTV Caribbean News. I am Sean Rose. Antigua and Barbuda Prime Minister Baldwin Spencer used his address to the UN General Assembly on Wednesday to slam the United States for its refusal to adhere to the rulings of the World Trade Organization, the WTO. Spencer, in his address to the 68th General Assembly of the United Nations on September 24, told the body that while his government won the internet gambling case at both the original and appellate levels of the WTO, a decade later the end is not in sight. He said the United States has neither removed the offending laws nor agreed on a fair settlement with Antigua and Barbuda that would compensate for the wanton destruction of an entire economic sector. Prime Minister Spencer called on the United States to correct past wrongs and to come to the table with meaningful proposals that can bring the matter to a just conclusion. He disclosed that his government now intends, through the only mechanism that the WTO has provided, to seek compensation for the thousands of jobs lost, the companies collapsed, and the general devastation of the second largest sector of Antigua and Barbuda's economy after tourism. The Trinidad-based Caribbean Public Health Agency has confirmed 6 cases of the influenza A H1N1 pandemic 09 in St. Vincent and the Grenadines, according to a statement issued by Chief Medical Officer Simone Keyser. Last week, classes at the Chumuka Secondary School on the western end of mainland St. Vincent were suspended after the Ministry of Health confirmed that it had become aware that the largest number of patients seeking medical attention for an acute illness in the district had been from the school. The statement by the health official said that to date there were 48 reported cases of this influenza-like illness. The Ministry of Health said it would continue active surveillance throughout St. Vincent and the Grenadines and that persons are asked to continue increased hygienic practices by covering mouth with a tissue or handkerchief if sneezing or coughing. The influenza A H1N1 pandemic 09 is a specific strain of the virus that became a global epidemic in 2009 and was commonly referred to as swine flu. The World Health Organization describes the strand of the virus as an influenza virus that had never been identified as a case of infections in people before the current 2009 H1N1 pandemic. Barbados health authorities confirmed that there have been more than 500 confirmed cases of dengue fever so far this year, as a local newspaper reported that a senior banker may have died as a result of the mosquito-borne illness. According to CMC, the Barbados Ministry of Health in a statement said there were 511 confirmed cases of dengue so far this year. In 2012, Barbados recorded 431 confirmed cases. The Ministry of Health said while one death from dengue was recorded in May, it is investigating a recent death. The Nation newspaper reported Wednesday that Republic Bank Limited manager Lorraine Seeley, age 43, who died Tuesday, may have succumbed to dengue fever caused by the dengue virus with symptoms that include fever, headache, muscle and joint pains, as well as skin rash similar to measles. Director General of the Guyana Civil Aviation Authority, Zulfikar Mohammed, says pilot error led to the July 30, 2011 crash of a Caribbean Airlines flight. According to Mohammed, the report on the mishap will be studied and released by Transport Minister Robson Ben. Mohammed explained that the report would say exactly what happened and emphasize several areas for safety. Guyana's presidential advisor on governance, Gail Teixeira, confirmed what had been known hours after the crash, that the pilot engaged in a long landing on the Cheddi Jagan International Airport runway that prevented him from stopping the Boeing 737-800 before it ran off the runway halfway over a ravine and cracked in half. 8 Guyanese passengers filed lawsuits claiming a total of $8 million Guyanese associated with alleged negligent operation of Caribbean Airlines flight number BW523. The Guyana Civil Aviation Authority-led probe received support from the United States' National Transportation Safety Board, the Caribbean Aviation Safety and Security Oversight, Caribbean Airlines, Trinidad and Tobago's Civil Aviation Authority, and Boeing Aircraft Company. Secretary General of the Barbados-based Caribbean Tourism Organization, the CTO, Hugh Riley, has called for legislation to regulate the disposal of waste in Caribbean waters. Addressing the second Sustainable Conference, Riley said the Caribbean had a responsibility to protect and preserve its water resources. He said that water was at the core of the Caribbean's efforts at sustainability and that it was important that the necessary policies be put in place to safeguard this vital resource and create policies to engender behaviors in Caribbean people and visitors that will safeguard our water resources for future generations. The two-day conference, organized by the St. Eustatius Tourism Development Foundation with support from the CTO, has as its theme tourism and water, protecting our common future. Riley said it was also necessary for the Caribbean to pay attention to rising sea levels and the impact of climate change, paying particular attention to the preservation of our reefs, mangroves and wetlands, our rivers and waterfalls, our precious marine life and our underwater heritage. He said the Caribbean must build structures that capture, store, treat and use water resources sensibly, including as a source of energy. And Jamaican-born singer Tissan Chin left all four coaches on The Voice fighting over her on Tuesday night after thrilling them and the audience with her blind audition version of Pink's Try. According to News Americas Now, Chin, age 28, who attended the audition with her dad and husband, sang backup for 3 years for reggae legend Jimmy Cliff, but eventually broke out as a solo artist in Jamaica. She became known as a reggae fusion recording artist, best known for her hit singles Hideaway and Messenger. Hideaway was featured on VP Records' Reggae Gold 2007. For the JTV Caribbean News, Sean Rose.
And coming up next on JTV News, plans are in full gear for the upcoming Anegada Lobster Fest and the Restaurant Week, presenting fantastic dishes at reduced prices. And we will hear from Ms. Eileen Parsons on her receiving the prestigious OBE Award.